G'day guys, my name's Dave from DT Unboxed, and in this video I'm going to be doing an unboxing and review of the Logitech MX Master 3 wireless mouse. I'm going to be pairing this up with the Logitech MX keys as well. If you want to see an unboxing and review of that keyboard, I'll leave a link to that in the description below. But anyway, let's jump into the unboxing and then I'll show you how it works and my review of this particular mouse. All right, let's open this up. The old box inside of a box. So what do we have here? We've got a little promo card plugging the MX keys. Got some of the warranty cards, info, and we have a USB type A to USB type C cable. And here is the MX Master 3. It's a beautiful mouse. Now I was thinking it would be a bit heavier, but it's not super light either. So it's sort of like a little lighter than I expected, but that's probably a good thing. But it feels great in the hand. Very ergonomic. Your thumb just sort of slips right in there. So pretty impressed with that. And then we have our wireless USB. So it's been a couple of months of real world use with the Logitech Master 3 mouse, and I am enjoying using it. However, there are some things that I miss from the Apple Magic Mouse. So let's just run through some of the best features of this mouse. I love how there's so many buttons. So there's a lot of room for customization, for app-specific customization as well. So that's one really cool thing, and I'll show you that in a second on the screen. But broadly speaking, there's a gesture button here, so you can push that down and you can push your mouse up, down, left, or right, and that will mimic the multi-touch gestures that you get on a Magic Mouse. There's two scroll wheels on this mouse. This top one, which is a lot of fun to scroll with. Now you can use it in two different modes. Free scroll mode, so you can spin it and it will just keep spinning and spinning. Now, I spun that like a good 3 seconds ago and it's still rotating and it stopped. And if you push this button, it will then change it to a more discrete click mode. So it won't spin quite as much, but you can feel the discrete clicks of the scroll wheel. Personally, I like using free spin mode. I think it just feels a lot nicer to have no friction. Now the horizontal scroll wheel doesn't quite have the same feature, so if you flick it, it doesn't just keep spinning. There's two extra buttons down here, which are probably my favorite buttons on this mouse. Generally speaking, for most apps, this will be an undo and redo button, which I've found to be super helpful in my editing workflow. Having said that, with the Logitech app, you can actually designate different actions for these buttons, so it doesn't have to be undo and redo. Now, battery life on this mouse is really, really good. On the website, it says 70 days on one full charge. I didn't quite get to that, but I was pretty close. And it says on 1 minute of charge, you can get an extra 3 hours of battery life, which is really great. So if you're really struggling to get some work out and the mouse dies on you, you only need to plug it in for a tiny bit to get that juice going again. Overall, in terms of tracking speed and performance, I really, really did enjoy it. It's very sensitive, so if you turn it up to full scroll speed in the options, then you're gonna have a very zippy mouse. The scroll speed I like using is personally about 50 to 75%. Similarly to the Logitech MX keys, you can connect this mouse with up to 3 different devices. And to cycle through them, you just push this button down the bottom and it will select which device you wanna use. Now, one really cool feature with the Master 3 and in conjunction with the Logitech MX keys is what they call flow. So if you have a PC and a Mac or 2 different computers and they're side by side next to each other, then you can move this mouse from one screen to the other and the mouse will automatically switch from one device to the other. And it doesn't need to be Mac to Mac, it can be PC to Mac as well, which is pretty cool. So let me just show you that. Now I will note that although it works most of the time, I'd say, like 9 out of 10 times it works, but sometimes it is a little bit buggy and takes a little bit of time to transition from one screen to the other. I'm gonna quickly demonstrate Logitech Flow and how you can just switch between 2 different devices on your mouse and your keyboard. So you're gonna need to install the Logitech app first on both devices. And you'll need to install this anyway in order to customize the buttons on your keyboard or mouse. In the mouse settings, you can go to flow, and then you can designate the positions of your screen and to switch between computers once you move to the edge of your screen, which is pretty cool. And then you can also enable copy paste between computers. So I can copy from my PC and paste it onto my Mac. So now hopefully you can see my mouse here. And when I scroll to the edge, it will move right over to my MacBook here. And the same will apply the other direction. So hopefully you can see the mouse there, and I'll move it to the left. And it takes a little bit more time to register, but then it pops up. So it's not 100% perfect, and sometimes it does lag. Sometimes you have to push your mouse into the screen quite a bit before it actually moves over to the other device. Now just let me quickly show you how the copy and paste works as well. So I'll option copy on the Mac. I'll go over to the PC, control paste. And there you go. As you can see, again, it does take a little bit of time, and both devices obviously have to be on the same network. But it's pretty cool, especially if you have a PC and Mac workflow and you want to use the two without constantly having to turn the mouse up and then push the button down here. You can just automatically switch between the two devices. So this is the Logitech Options app, and this is where you can really fine tune how you want the buttons on your Master 3 to work. So let's click into the Master 3, and here we can fine tune all the buttons on the mouse. So currently it's set to all applications, and currently back and forward, horizontal scroll, etc., etc. But you can fine tune these as well. So it can be very app specific. So you can go into Adobe Premiere and you can click here, and then you can customize what you want that button to be. And there's a lot of different options relevant to Adobe Premiere. So I'm just gonna leave it as redo and undo. I find them to be extremely useful for editing. You can also adjust the options on apps like Google Chrome. So the horizontal scroll wheel is defaulted to navigate between tabs, and you can obviously just change this to horizontal scroll, but I think it's just really weird that they would default to change tabs. And this is the same for Safari as well. Now, one other downside that I found about this mouse is that randomly at times, the settings of my mouse would just completely drop out. So I would wake up my Mac and then I'd start using it, and then I'd start scrolling to find that the scroll direction had completely changed, or that my scrolling speed had just gotten really, really slow all of a sudden. I looked up the issue, and it does appear to be more of a software issue than anything else. And although it is a little bit annoying, I've kind of learned to live with it. And it happens maybe, I don't know, once every few days for me, which can be a little frustrating, but I think the features of the mouse outweigh those negatives. The last thing I don't really like about this mouse is the horizontal scroll wheel. So for a lot of apps, it's defaulted to change tabs. So on Safari, for example, this horizontal scroll wheel defaults to change your tab, which is pretty non-intuitive, especially when I want to horizontally scroll on a web page and I do this and then I'm on another tab. And I know I can change this in the settings, but it is one of those things where you just kind of want it to work a certain way, but it doesn't. And you're just like, that's a little bit annoying. Now that's probably one thing I miss about using the Apple Magic Mouse, is that horizontal scrolling is really, really simple. But horizontal scrolling on this is just a little clunky in my opinion. So that's my review of the Logitech Master 3 mouse. And if you want to check out my review of the Logitech MX keys, then I'll leave a link to that in the description below. They're not 100% perfect, but they are very, very good at the end of the day. If you have any questions about this mouse, then please leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, it'd mean a lot if you could hit that like button, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time on DT Unboxed. Cheers.